Okay. So we saw this from Ed Dowd. So he puts this out. Trump just signed executive order, a sovereign wealth fund. Howard Lutnick says off to his right with the press, if we sell 2 billion COVID vaccines, we should have equity warrants in those companies. Oh gosh. Yeah,
Mhm.
hard freaking no, right? A couple of steps forward, then some steps back. Very bad idea. Let's hear a little piece of this. There you
This is
go.
an executive order. Discharges your Secretary of the Treasury, Scott Bessent, and your Secretary of Commerce, Howard Lutnick, to begin a process that will hopefully result in the creation of an American sovereign wealth fund.
It's a very exciting event. We're going to have a sovereign wealth fund, which we've never had. We have a lot of things that create wealth, and you.
Can I just say he's so good at talking like when he doesn't really have a strong opinion on something, you can tell he's being pushed to do something because he has these go-to words. Like listen to that language. He's like, we're excited to have this thing. He just repeats what the thing is, right? We're excited to have a sovereign wealth fund. We've never had anything like this. I mean, these are stalling tactics to make it look like he thought this thing through. I just wanted to point that out, but let's hear a little more.
Seeing that over the last 2 weeks, I think we've created more wealth. Other people have created de-wealth. The people, my predecessors, we're creating a lot of wealth. Scott, maybe you'd like to say something about it, and I'd ask also Howard to say something about it.
Yes, sir.
Oh, by the way, you could do the same thing with USAID. USAID, you know, we're getting rid of aid. The other team wants to get rid. It's like you're just using word. You're just doing word plays. But okay, let's hear this next part. This is the part that Ed Dowd was concerned about. This is the part, the vaccine part. Here we go.
This is very exciting. We're going to stand this thing up within the next 12 months. We're going to monetize the asset side of the U.S. balance sheet for the American people. We're going to put the assets to work. And I think it's going to be very exciting. We're going to study best practices as done around the world. It'll be a combination of liquid assets that we have in this country as we work to bring them out for the American people.
The extraordinary size and scale of the U.S. government and the business it does with companies should create value for American citizens. If we are going to buy 2 billion COVID vaccines, maybe we should have some warrants and some equity in these companies and have that grow for the help of the American people. So I bring all these things together. I think Scott and I will create an amazing sovereign wealth fund for you.
Okay, how is this not big government, Matt? Doesn't that sound a lot like big government to you? Like if you're a libertarian and you want government as small as possible, do you really want the government being an investor in poison technology, aka mRNA technology? I don't know, man. Like it sounds like big government to me. I don't know about you.
It's really bad. And if you guys were following, like just a week ago, we had Ellison, right, from the that brought in the Oracle Stargate plan. And it's really interesting because you sent me this about Ed Dowd, and Ed Dowd thoughtfully called that out and said, "Don't worry about Ellison. He's all talk, not any action. That doesn't look like it's going to get any life. So we're okay there." He says it's a horrible idea, but it doesn't look like Stargate's going to get any traction. The guy is just a lot of yapping, and he knows him personally. So Ed Dowd's worked with him. So I wanted to throw that out as a precursor because when you sent me this tweet, Jay, and he's saying, no, this one's actually a problem. This one they can actually do. And he clarifies the point here is that Lutnick and by association Trump think that mRNA was hunky-dory. It's an example of how to monetize in the future, not necessarily that they are going to do this now, but example of extracting something from companies that do business with the government. I think it's a bad idea. A conflict of interests are rife. And you hit it on the head, Jay. That was exactly correct. This is exactly the big government that a lot of people like Ed Dowd, we know, was the whole point of getting on Trump's team was that he was going to take the power back from the government, controlling people and implementing all these crappy mandates and mRNA crap. And he was just like, no, we're not doing that anymore. And here we are. And again, the Ed Dowd points it out very well. And he's going to give us his honest take, which I wish we need more like Ed Dowd. But yeah, thanks for bringing this to our
Yeah,
attention.
no worries. And Ed Dowd has done some amazing work. He's a pretty smart guy, particularly with exposing what happened during the pandemic. I don't know if I'm as optimistic though as he is about the cancer vaccines not being rolled out, because it might not look like there's enough public call for it right now, but if we know that cancer rates are increasing right now and they continue increasing, that might actually manufacture that public consent, for those things to be rolled out. So
Ed Dowd's not saying about public consent not being there. He knows that people can get tricked into this stuff. That we know.
Mhm.
He's saying that Larry Ellison doesn't actually have the technology to do it. That's what he's saying.
to do it,
doesn't actually exist. That's what he's saying.
The way AI is advancing now, man, I don't think we're that far off from it. So, but yes, maybe it exists, but it hasn't been released to the public yet, because they do have a lot of black ops stuff going on out there. So, but we'll see. I want to remain hopeful, but it's funny that he comes up with that idea. Literally, was it like yesterday? We had the CIA documents released that proved that the U.S. government was directly involved in the creation of COVID. You had Trump all towards the end of his presidency calling it the China virus, because he wanted to make everyone think it was the Chinese government's fault. And what do you know? Like, he's still like doubling down on that strategy of at least shifting the blame away from intelligence agencies, even though we're getting more and more coming out about these intelligence agencies. So how serious is he about actually reining them in when he's not talking about the current crimes they're engaged in today? So even if I don't think we're actually going to get any smoking guns from the JFK files or the RFK or the MLK files, because they've probably erased any smoking guns existence to this point. I hope I'm wrong. But anyway you put it, those are still talking about events in the past. I want to hear Trump tell me what the intelligence agencies are doing wrong today, besides annoying him and opening up fake investigations into him, which they know aren't going to go anywhere.
Well, I mean, you mentioned the CIA admitting this stuff. This is, I mean, we got to assume Trump has been, has had his eye to this. He must know this happened. I mean, so this is, sudden unexpected tweeted this out. So we know this. A newly declassified CIA report confirms that COVID was bioengineered in a lab with the help of the Pentagon in 2017. This is a bombshell revelation alongside a groundbreaking German study suggesting a coordinated effort to conceal the role of the U.S. and Western agencies in the development of COVID while shifting blame to China. And from People's Voice, we can see that this was bioengineered in the Pentagon in 2017. And the bombshell revelation alongside a groundbreaking German study. Yeah, that was they tweeted out. The CIA's assessment, released in January, marks a significant shift in the narrative surrounding the origins of COVID-19. The agency stated with low confidence that the virus likely originated from a lab. So all this is now official. This is on the books. And like you mentioned, as far as even when Trump was suggesting this at the end of his first term, we know how that one turned out. I want to just play a brief bit of this one. I don't know if you saw this, Jay, but Matt Orfalea, he likes to do these mashups sometimes of pulling.
He's great
from the past. We love it. He does a mashup.
Peter Hotez mashup was A1. Did you see that one too?
Well, this is the one on Trump's being called a conspiracy theorist.
Okay.
So let's check out a little bit of this. It's so good because it reminds you guys. This is what they did to him, and this is what they did to us. Let's remember, this is what they did to us. This was the first, as Jimmy Dore says, the conspiracy theorists are about 8-0. This, I believed, was the very first win for the conspiracy theorists during COVID. Check it out.
President Trump suggested that COVID very well may have came from a lab in Wuhan, China, and many members in this very room mocked him for that.
Flashback. President Trump is pushing a conspiracy theory that coronavirus began in a lab in China.
Trump said he believed the Wuhan lab conspiracy theory.
The theory from the lab.
Something that's just a conspiracy theory.
This conspiracy theory.
Racist conspiracy theories are
Nothing new for the Trump administration.
The president is about to launch this campaign on the basis of a conspiracy theory that this virus emerged from a laboratory.
Donald Trump turning his intelligence community to now investigate a conspiracy theory about COVID coming from a lab.
The president entertains conversation of conspiracy theorists.
Unfounded lab conspiracy theories promoted by Trump.
Trump TV's escape from the lab theory.
One of Trump world's most favorite conspiracy theories.
A flurry of conspiracy theories.
These are conspiracy theories.
Peddled quite heavily by the Trump administration that the virus is linked to the lab.
I love the mask outside. I love that. That was also BS, as we know. Why are you wearing that outside? That's hilarious. I don't know. Let's go a little bit more of this.
Wuhan.
Trump has been raising the possibility, but scientists debunk the lab accident theory.
Trump is pushing this theory that the virus was accidentally released from a lab in Wuhan. That's his new angle to feed the wingnuts, to treat this virus like it was a conspiracy of some kind.
It should have never happened. This plague should never have happened. It could have been stopped. But people chose not to stop it.
What people?
Dr. Fauci is shooting down theories after President Trump linked the virus to a lab in Wuhan.
Dr. Anthony Fauci rejected the conspiracy that coronavirus was man-made in a lab in Wuhan, China. And yet, Donald Trump is still pushing the debunked bunkum.
The president floating conspiracy theories.
Dr. Fauci shot down the lab theory.
The problem, the president is once again not synced up with his intel community.
The intelligence community has already come out to say that this is not a human-made virus.
Anna Kasparian,
TYT, man.
her in there. That's funny because she's always the last to the table on everything. That's hilarious.
Do you know how disappointed?
Yeah.
So, do you know how disappointed I was in TYT, man? I used to be such a big fan of theirs. They were the people who put me onto Jimmy Dore originally, and whenever I'd see Jimmy Dore come on the show, I'd always ask myself, damn, that guy is good. Why don't they have him on the main show? Like, he got that passion, that energy, and all that. And when he parted ways with them, that was actually, what showed me like how much bullshit was really happening over there. But yeah, man, that was a big disappointment because I used to be a pretty big fan of the Young Turks too. So
I mean, they took that Katzenberg money in 2016, right? That was all for Hillary, so they had to align with Hillary. I know Cenk is sad that they paid it back since or whatever, but it's Jimmy on TYT. The moment that you knew, like, what side are you on? He called out Cenk on Syria. He said, "What are you talking about? We have to go annihilate. What are you saying? What is wrong with you, man?" Like, he got it. He goes, "What are you doing?" And you just like, no. And then the Assange thing. Julian Assange is a traitor. All this stuff, and he's a Trump asset. And you're just like, man. If you don't walk out the door, if you're in that staff and you don't walk out the door with Jimmy, then you're part of that. You're just a career sellout. And I get Anna Kasparian. Even now, she's I'm realizing things now. Okay, good for you. But you stayed. All your staff stayed. Jimmy went on, and we all went on with him. And that's how you got to do it, man. You got to stand up against this empire. Even though, once in a while you get something right. Of course, Cenk gets the genocide right. Good for you, Cenk. But man, how many?
And then they tried to Me Too him, man. You believe they really tried to Me Too Jimmy? That was hilarious, man. So,
I saw. Yeah, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe that drama that went down. And he did a great job fighting back on that one. And I think at the end of the day, it was like Kyle Kalinske looked like a big fat loser and stuck in the middle of that when he should have just been like, "Come on, guys, what are you doing?" But he was like, I don't know. It's like, come on. Just making
it's crazy, man.
Yeah,
it's crazy. Anyway. But anyway, Matt, I gotta run. Okay. Great show as usual. Keep the homeless left informed. And I will be back next week. So we'll be in touch, bro.